Hello and welcome, Rangers. I'm Joe. Here with me is my co-host Dan,
Hello and greetings.
and today we are discussing Quasar Quest Part 1. This is the first episode of Power Rangers Lost Galaxies. I love the intro song to this series. This might just be probably one of the best. It's at least in the top 3 best intro songs of Power Rangers. And this is a great season. And I've got a lot of fond memories of this one. And I know you've got even fonder memories of it than I do.
Yeah, because
It's your favorite.
I initially watched it. Oh, what do I have to lose? As a young man, was the first real time I truly watched it.
And you loved it.
Yeah, and I was surprised at how good it was.
Yeah, Danny Slavin brings a lot of charisma and charm to the role. Him and the Mike Corbett actor are probably the most charismatic Power Ranger actors in some ways since Tom's actor, GDF. Leo is a natural hero. He's a guy who starts off more a Han Solo. I think you've dubbed him the Han Solo of Power Rangers. He brings in a charm and a dignity and a swagger that's more like John Wayne or Han Solo to the role. It differentiates him from the previous great Red Rangers, whereas Leo naturally steps out, assumes a position right next to them that is their equal in a lot of ways. And very impressive how Danny Slavin was able to do that so gracefully, so easily. It is an impressive accomplishment on his part. When it comes to this first episode, it starts off with people wanting to go off into space because apparently there's been a mission to colonize space that's been launched. The megaship, really, Terra Venture, has been built up, obviously using technology taken from Power Rangers to a large extent, and obviously based off of maybe some of the scientific accomplishments of the likes of Anton Mercer, Tommy Oliver, and Billy Cranston. Because of this, as well as, of course, Andros, because, he brought in alien technology to Earth, which that is going to have an impact. And for the most part, this is positive in the series, which is interesting. But the negative is that it's attracting to Earth the attention of a lot of demons and alien demons of sorts. Not any of these characters' faults, not Andros's fault by any stretch of the imagination. It was going to happen sooner or later. Better that it happens sooner than later. First characters we're introduced to are the captain and his crew, namely Mike Corbett, as well as Kai and Kendricks. The captain is obviously friendly with his crew, but he's a tough man with a lot of charisma. And there's just one problem. The main problem in this episode is that Bulk and the Professor forgot Skull, and that Skull overslept. This event is going to have dire repercussions for the future of Power Rangers. No, I'm trolling you all. Actually, the big thing is that Mike, the first of the kind of 2 main characters of this season, he's in a way co-lead alongside Leo, his younger brother. Mike has buyer's remorse about venturing off into space and leaving everything he loves behind, primarily his younger brother. But the thing is, his younger brother's clinging too tightly to him. Leo, the younger brother, who's a street thug of sorts, bit of a thief and criminal, but one with a heart of gold, is clinging too tightly to him. Leo has the mentality that the 2 brothers must always stick together no matter what and never be separated. But the problem is, what Mike is trying to tell him is, I need my own life, you need your own life. We have to, at some point, be separate individuals. You do have to grow up. And Leo wants to cling to the role of child. This is what he is doing. Mike does not want that. He wants Leo to be a full-grown man, to be his own man. Leo doesn't want to be a man. It's hard being a grown-up. Leo's rejecting this. This is a kind of call to adventure. An older brother who helped raise his younger brother, and a younger brother who wants to cling to his childhood too tightly and doesn't want to grow up. Peter Pan syndrome, effectively. And Mike doesn't know how to break this problem that's mushroomed up in Leo's mind and heart. And so he's trying to remove himself from the picture. Because he can't push Leo out of the nest, he's pushing himself out of the nest. Leo doesn't like this, so he smuggles his way onto Terra Venture. And there's also a difference in how the 2 treat women. And you kind of get a subtle hint of it at the start. Mike teases Kendricks when she says, oh, I'm 20 minutes behind. Only 20 minutes behind. He teases her, treats her really charmingly. And what's more is that Mike treats ladies with a lot of gallantry and chivalry. He is a lot more the maiden's knight. He's a lot more the Gawain archetype. He is the lady's knight. Leo is more a Sir Kay type figure. He grows into the role of a Gawain. He grows into the role of Gawain, the ladies' knight himself. The two brothers do assume this role together eventually, but the problem is Leo at first is a cad. And so when he runs into Kendricks in the middle of the hall, yeah, he seems to really find her pretty, but the sly grin and the sly look in his eyes, that's not exactly impressive.
He knows how seductive his smile is.
And he's charming in that way that John Wayne is. And the reality is that he's using it for his own gratification. He's a cad.
Hence why the comparisons to Han Solo. Han Solo didn't exactly start off.
Yeah, he didn't treat women very well at first. Han Solo was someone who had made a life career almost out of abusing women. And the truth of the matter was, it's not until he met Luke, who was a gentleman, that he learned how a man should behave. And it's not until he met Leia that he learned how to properly love a woman, because Leia truly loved him, but she required that he love her also. And thus, he understood that the only way to get Leia, the best woman in the entirety of the Star Wars galaxy, the most impressive woman alongside Jan Orris, was to earn Leia. He had to be chivalrous. And so he learned chivalry. Leo has to learn it. But what's interesting is that Leo ends up somehow smuggling himself onto the moon because he dons a soldier's uniform and gets involved in a paintball exercise for all intents and purposes. Dark side version of the moon, which is to say the one with gravity, because the regular moon doesn't. So I'll continue to maintain my fan theory that it's Zed's dimension where spitball exercise takes place. Because of that, it's easy to open portals to other places in the galaxy there. That would be my theory. Quest giver of sorts, that is to say Maya, comes rushing out, demanding aid for her planet. Mike answers the call, but forbids Leo from coming along because he's discovered that Leo smuggled himself aboard and is not impressed by that. Kendrick still kind of likes her pretty boys, but she's the geeky girl who was never very lucky with the boys despite being very, very beautiful. While she wants the bad boy, Kai is in love with her. So we already have a love triangle. Leo is not in love with Kendricks, never falls in love with her. I know there's fans to that pairing, but Leo is very obviously throughout the season not in love. He comes to value Kendricks as a friend, but he never reciprocates. At the start, he just wants to use her and lose her. But later, he learns the value of friendship. Kai, I will actually argue, it seems like he's truly smitten with her. But Kendricks doesn't want Kai. And so that's a pairing that's doomed. Leo jumps through the portal before it closes because he's impulsive and he never wants to be separated from his big bro, leaving Kai behind empty-handed. If there's anything that can be said, it's that, no offense, but the most resourceful Power Ranger of this season is Kai. And in some ways, he's the one with the greatest destiny, more so than Leo or Mike Corbett. I don't know what you think of that opinion, Dan.
It is very apt.
Find his own way there. Meanwhile, Mike and Leo and Kendricks find their way to where the Quasar swords are. And the Quasar swords are the swords in the stone, very obviously an Arthurianic reference. Except in this case, there is no king archetype to pull the swords out of the stone. Instead, what you have is the warrior archetype, Mike, to pull out the sword, the red one. Later, Leo will be able to pull it out, but at first he isn't able to, because he's not worthy quite yet. Later, he will be worthy. And Leo is also the warrior archetype. Kendricks is the female version of the magician. Kai arguably is a decoy warrior, but in reality a magician archetype. Episode 1, Part 1 stops here. Don't forget to smash that like and that subscribe button, as though you were Leo taking down one of his enemies. And remember, Rangers, may the power protect you!